Hello, I'm Rafael Reyes, and welcome to People in Perspective. Today, joining me is Benjamin Van Horne, a home builder. Let's get into the questions. What is home building?
Home building is, for me, is the business of constructing homes from the ground up and selling them. So it is buying the land, getting permission to build something, managing all the people and the experts that it takes to construct a good home, and then selling the home to a consumer who's going to live in it.
What is green home building? You're a green home builder, so it's different from regular home building.
Yeah, so one of the things I like to say about it is every place you build in urban areas in the United States has a building code. And the building code is, if you build just to the building code, you are building the worst house you're legally allowed to build. So green building, we typically build above the code. We put in more insulation, we put in better windows, better doors, we air seal the homes, we put in more efficient mechanicals and appliances, and in our case we're putting solar panels on the roof. All of these things are things we're not required to do, but we're choosing to do it for a variety of reasons. One is for the environment, two is because we think we have a better market position. We could sell houses better, and they're better and healthier homes for people. So that in a nutshell is green building to me.
And how do you keep your houses affordable?
So that's a challenge for anybody who's in this business. You have to have a house that is priced to the market. You can't have something that's overpriced or it won't sell. But in my philosophy, I really want to build as affordable a home as I possibly can, because there's a deep unmet need for affordable housing. Mm-hmm. And we try to do that in a variety of ways. So I am building in areas where the land is still relatively inexpensive, so I don't have to add a very large land cost to my sale price when I sell a home. So that's the first step. Then I'm building modest size homes. So as you can imagine, a smaller house you can sell it for less than a larger house, and it's still a decent sized house, a house you can raise a family in. And then we have another couple ways we try to keep a house affordable. One is some of our houses we add an apartment to the basement. We call it a two-flat. And you can live in the first floor and the second floor. It's got a two and a half bath, 3-bedroom house. And then in the basement, there's an apartment you can rent out, and the rents you collect can help defray the costs of living in the upstairs. And then finally, like you said about green building, the fact that you are much more energy efficient and you're producing free electricity on your roof means you have much lower utility bills. All that adds up to hopefully what is more of an affordable home in the end.
What does the future of home building look like?
That is a really good question. It's something that if you are a home builder, you have to be constantly thinking about. Not only what are the next 6 months going to be like, but what it's the next few years, and what's it going to be like in 10 years, and if it is going to be really different in 10 years, do we need to start planning for that now? So I think that home building is going to look similar to how it looks now in 10 years and probably in 20 years, particularly in urban infill lots, very unique spaces where you have neighbors on either side, things like that. I don't think we're going to have 3D printed houses going into those sites. Maybe that'll happen in some big open spaces in Texas or things like that. But I think it's a industry, it's a job, it's a business that is going to take individuals with skills, a whole wide variety of skills, to partake in them and to take that on. And so I think it's a little bit protected from some of the forces in our world that might be taking jobs from away from other people. In the next few months, it's hard to say because the economy is always a question mark. So I may have to shift some of the things I do in the next few months. If houses aren't selling as fast as they usually do, I may build some houses for people who are paying me to do that instead of just building them and hoping to sell them. So those are kind of some of the things that I have to think about constantly in planning. I do hope, to answer that question as well, what do I think it's going to look like? I hope that people who are home builders move toward building more green homes that are much more energy efficient, if possible, including solar or other renewable energy. And I do think that some people are following. The incentives are there now to do that, where it makes financial sense to do that. It's not just spending more money, but it is actually going to become law in a lot of places. So like there are parts of California where you have to build all electric, you have to put solar on your homes, and that's other cities around the country are doing the same thing, and I think Chicago is going to follow. Oak Park is probably going to lead the way. We'll see.
How's the pandemic affected you?
So it affected me, like similar to the question you just asked, predicting the future. When the pandemic started, I thought we would have to stop building, and I thought that demand would go down and I might not be able to sell the houses I had under construction. And I started to plan for that, and then the opposite occurred. It became a very strong housing market. A lot of people who lived in apartments wanted to get out of their small spaces now that they were working from home, and there became a very strong demand for homes. And they also, the powers that be in Chicago at least, deemed home building to be an essential business. So when I remember driving down Lakeshore Drive in Chicago, and there were like 2 other cars on the road, there were a couple nurses and me, and I felt lucky to be able to go to work when everybody else was forced to stay home. So other than that, I think it has continued to increase the attractiveness of single-family home living with your own space, your own garage, your own backyard, and a space for an office from home. So I think people appreciate that now, and it's even more attractive than it was before.
How do you get into home building?
So you can get into what I do from a variety of directions. I am not a contractor. I'm not typically out there banging nails and sweating pipe and so forth. I'm hiring the people who do that. So it's very much a business role, managing people and trusting experts, finding experts. So people can come to that from all kinds of directions. I have a degree in international relations and somehow ended up being a home builder, and that's another story for another time. But I think I've seen a lot of people come from the trades who do it, and then I think carpentry is an excellent, if you're going to have the goal of becoming a home builder, going into framing homes first is really good. You can take classes, and there are degrees in construction management. I believe Southern Illinois has a good program in that. That would be a good basis for becoming a home builder, for becoming the business side of the home builder, the entrepreneurial side of home building. Okay.
Thank you for joining me on the program. It's been a pleasure meeting you and learning about home building.
Nice to meet you too. Pleasure to meet you.
I'm Rafael Reyes, and this is People in Perspective. See you next time.